And now, without further ado, I just want to say welcome again to our award-winning painter and friend of the library, Megha Mehra.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. And thank you again, LCPL, for giving great opportunities to artists and everyone with these creative workshops. It's always a joy to paint together. And I think our patrons have been enjoying this for years now. And it's amazing what you guys do. So as you all know, today we're going to paint this beautiful scene of this very serene boat and very standstill water. Yeah, summers are here, and I'm sure everybody has a lot of beach and lake trips. So why not do something that is related to the season? If you have any questions, please let me or Suzanne know, and we'll be able to answer right away. Any other question regarding materials, paper, paint, anything, please let us know. I'll also explain the colors and everything, how to approach this painting. But before we jump right into the painting, it's important that we draw. So the drawing is going to be very simple. I'm sure everybody has the link to the reference pictures on the library event calendar. If you go to the calendar and you find today's workshop, you will find the link where you can find the reference pictures. So go ahead and check that out so that you can just take a look at the pictures while you're painting. It's very important because as you paint, you start to observe the picture more and then start painting. So before we get into it, I'll give you about 10 minutes to draw. The drawing is to be very simple. You don't have to do the water or anything, just the boat. And you can see the reflection here, just a few things here and the duck here. But that's about it, not very complicated. So go ahead and finish the drawing. And once it's done, I'll go ahead and explain how to approach the painting. I'll also explain the colors. You can see my palette right away here. And hopefully you can see almost every stroke that I'm painting. Okay, everyone, so let's begin the painting. If you're still drawing, that's okay. Continue to draw. We have a couple of minutes. But let's see, how would you approach a scene like this? As you can see, it's very simple. There's a lake or river or a water body with a boat in it. And when you see something like this, I want you to think about shapes and values. Shapes, like you understand, is what shape is this? As you can see, this is more like a triangle. Okay, so instead of calling this as a boat, try to think this is a triangle. Instead of calling this shape something, why don't we call this as a semicircle? Okay, and this is obviously like a straight line. Um, and here, the same way here, these are again triangles here, right? So when you think things in the form of shape, your brain actually simplifies things. And that makes it very easy to start looking at things in a very realistic form. Because when you look at something, it can be very terrifying, especially like portraits, like, oh, how can I draw a portrait? This is very complicated. But if you see, everything in the world is made up of shapes and values. Now, if you ask me what are values, values are nothing but lightness or darkness of something. I'll give you an example with a black and white picture. You can see here, this is a black and white picture of the same shape or object here. And you can see these two are different values. Okay, it could be the same color. Let's say it's both orange here. I know it's different here because printing can sometimes be deceiving because how the printer chooses colors and printers are different. But if you see this is orange, this could be a very darker orange, but it's different values. And this contrast of values, if you see these three, is what makes anything look real in a three-dimensional form. So whenever you're trying to paint, look at things in the form of, again, shapes and values. And a black and white picture really helps because this is really hard sometimes in color, how dark or how light you need to paint this. And in watercolors, people get confused, like how much water should I use or how much paint I should use. That can really be confusing, and then everything looks very flat. Okay, so I'll teach you how you can pick colors, but in the most simplest form, I want to show you that what is a value. Okay, so let's say same with orange. If I say value 1, okay, so you can see that it's very, very light, diluted with water. Okay, it's not very dark. Then what I can do is I can pick more thick paint here. Okay, and you can see this is so dark. So this is of a greater value. Okay, so this is how we're going to start choosing colors. And if you want to lighten something, add more water. If you want to darken something, add more paint. And sometimes you're going to mix different colors to make thicker paint or darker paints. Okay, so this is just the only principle you need to understand or follow or keep in mind, no matter what art you're doing, whether it's acrylic, whether it's sketching, whether it's pastels, whether it's watercolors, and you will never go wrong into your painting. So this is the only concept that will really help you do realistic good paintings. And the other thing I want to remind all of you is, if you're a beginner, not painting enough, it's okay. It may not look great if you paint today, but just have patience and just enjoy the process. It takes time in watercolors. You need to have a little bit of planning and a little bit of patience to enjoy this medium. But once you have mastered it, you'll just love it because of how free flowing it is. Okay, so just enjoy today and don't worry too much about or stress too much about how it's going to look. Lastly, once you're done with the painting, feel free to email me. I still get a lot of emails from patrons, no matter how they're painted, and they send me those paintings for feedback. And I'll be happy to give you a feedback, a written email feedback. Okay. And Suzanne will give you the email in the chat, and then you can text it to email it to me. So let's begin this painting. Um, Looking at the colors, as you can see, there's a lot of blue here, kind of a bluish green, yellow, green, blue, orange. This is really dark. It could be really dark blue. It could be like coffee or brown. We can make anything out of this because it's so dark that I don't want to just paint like just pitch black from like a tube of black paint. I hardly use black paint. This is yellow again. Okay, this is mostly golden. You can see there's a lot of reflection of the sun here. Okay, so let's start with something simple here. We'll start with the yellow, and this is going to be really light here. So I'm not going to pick a lot of pigment here, something really light. So let's start with nice lemony yellow mixed with a little bit of warm yellow. Okay, remember, I'm going to keep it very light. Okay, if you feel that it has really lightened once the painting dries, you just have to go ahead and add more paint to it. You can always go ahead and add more paint, but removing in watercolors can be really messy. You can, yes, but it's sometimes ruins the paper. So it's better to add more paint than to remove paint. So go slow and you'll be more satisfied. Okay, so we're going to break the whole painting in small areas so that it's easy to think about them. Okay, so this is drying. While this is drying, how about we paint this area? Okay, I don't want to go here because of the other colors. It's going to mix up and become really dull. So we'll pick orange here. If you don't have orange, you can just pick, mix some yellow and red together, and that should be good. Okay, and it's slightly darker than this yellow. Okay, so definitely I need more pigment. And on the right-hand side of this orange shape, I feel it's darker. And as it goes towards the left side, it becomes slightly lighter. So I'm just going to dip my paintbrush. I dip my paintbrush in a little bit of water. And you can see that it looks light. Okay, it's almost like the color is getting lighter as we go up. Okay, so this is again the next section, and we're going to let it dry. Because remember, to make this look real, this has to be really dark than this. So I cannot make very dark paint here immediately. Okay, otherwise how much paint can I add here? It's just going to be like very pasty on it, which I don't want. Okay, so this is what is very important when you paint, and see a little bit of color went in there, which is okay. Next, I'm going to pick a smaller paint brush, take some blue, again, keeping it a bit light. Okay. While this dries, the next we're going to do this area, which is green. It is slightly darker than this blue area, but I'll give you guys time to catch up. It's this a nice kind of a green, bottle green kind of thing. I'm going to mix some green and blue together just to make it look more greener side, bluish green. It doesn't matter what colors you're picking. You can make this whole boat as pink. That's fine. As long as the values are matching, because that's what is going to make this boat look real. Okay, so here you go again. Okay, so this is again done. Let it dry. Next, we can come here because I want some layers to dry and then we can do all this area. Okay, I'm going to pick some, here I'm going to pick some orange and some brown later on it. Okay, so we're going to take some orange. Watercolors, the transparency comes through layers of paint. So that's why it's very important that you let the first layer dry and then and you can also go in the other area. It's okay because it's also dark. Some of the reflection of those areas are there. And let this dry because I want later to add some brown into it. Okay. Next, we'll move on to this area. Add some brown, light brown, like burnt sienna. And I'm going to cover the whole area actually. Same here. I'm going to continue. Okay, while this is dry, we're going to go in and add some orange, but let this dry. Give it 2 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take a bit of orange here, or like a dark yellow. And just in this first half of the small shape, I'm going to add it. Okay. Any questions? Feel free to ask now. Feel free to ask in the middle. It's totally fine. It could be the silliest question, and that's okay. But please, please, please ask. Same way, I'm going to take that bit of orange, maybe add a bit of red into it. I feel it's a bit darker here. I'm going to add here. Yeah, I need it a bit darker. Yeah, this looks good. Now I'm just waiting for them to dry. And while that is drying, yeah, let this dry. We can go ahead and do the other parts here. Okay, so let's start from top, because as we go on top, it'll start drying, and then in the bottom, let it dry. So what's on the top here? I can see some green and some blue. So first I'm going to take some blue here. Okay, and I'm going to take this flat brush here and just take a very, very diluted solution of that blue. As I come down, a little darker. Okay. Same here on the left side. A few streaks here and there. Remember, it's very light. And I can teach you how you do this. So you take some paint, okay, and it has to be very dry, not much water on it, and you just sweep through it. It's going to be very dry, and you'll see, you can almost hear the noise of the paintbrush. Same way, I'm going to take a bit of green here. And almost cut through some areas. Stop and paint. That's what it's called. You like. You can see I'm just using the flat brush here and just sweeping across these areas. I'm taking a bit of blue now, mixed with a little bit of green. Why? Because I want that green to be dark, and you can add some blue to make it dark. Okay, it probably more dark, but let it dry here. Okay, I'll give you guys a minute to catch up. So when I talked about planning the painting, this is how you plan. Okay, you got to break this painting into parts so that it's not overwhelming. Like, when should I do the water? When should I do the other parts? So put the base layers down, and then you can add a little bit layer on it. Okay, here I can see it's almost yellowish green. You know, I also see a touch of orange. Why orange? The reflection of this boat. Sorry, the reflection of this boat is actually falling here. So I also need a bit of orange here. So once it dries, we're going to start here. So I'll take some orange, yellow. It's kind of a lemony yellow. It's going to be super light, okay, which means more water. I know it looks really dark now, but I'm going to just take some water and sweep through it. I'll take a bit of tinge of orange here. Why? Right away, because it's wet now. And whatever colors I put here, it's going to just blend into it. Okay, it's all going to be one and become like one color. I also take a teeny bit of brown right away because it's wet, and I can really make use of this timing to put these reflections in. Okay, after this, we're not going to touch it and let this dry. So you can see now that the painting is coming to form as a real picture, right? You can see that the way it's taking its shape. Now the water looks like water. These shapes are coming together. I know still not there, but we'll get there. Okay. And these are quite dry now. So after 2 minutes, we'll get into those areas. We can also put these areas first while this dries so that it's really nice and dark. Okay. Okay, let's go here now. I see these are these like almost light brown, dark brown shapes here. Okay, so we can go into that. Take a bit of brown here. Not too dark here because see there are some really dark areas here and we need to save some dark places. Otherwise everything will look like one flat picture. This is slightly darker here. And this looks like black. We don't have to do it black, but I can show you how to make black. I'm going to take a bit of brown, mixed with a little bit of blue actually, like ultramarine blue, and that way you'll get black. It has to be 50-50 ratio, so 50% of burnt sienna or brown and 50% of blue, like ultramarine blue. And then you'll get almost like a black color. As it comes down, it becomes really light. I want to keep it light here. Okay. Next we have this. This is really dark and nice. I can take some nice dark brown here. Almost this is like a sepia color. Okay. And then go from top. As you taper down, you can see that the reflections are also forming here. Okay. So this is good now. We'll wait, let it dry, and then we'll continue the other areas. This is dry. Kind of almost. If you want to know if it's dry or not, you can use the back of your knuckle and touch it. If you feel it's damp or cold, it's still a bit wet. If it's really nice dry, you will know, like you won't feel cold. Okay, let's get into the other areas. Need a little bit of dark blue here to get the reflections here. And you can see that it gets light here as we go because the reflection, the ripples, right? Same thing here. Okay. Next, we can go ahead and add nice darks here now. Now we can go here and add some nice brown. It has to be dark than the upper layers. You can also add a bit of red, actually reddish oranges, because that orange is so dark, it almost looks like brown now, but you can add some orange. As I come this way, it's going to be lighter. Okay, if you feel it's not enough, go ahead, add some color. Okay, you can see it's so nice and dark. Next, we can go here, add these small details or even finish this area. It's again quite a dark area. I can take red, I can take orange, I can take brown, whatever looks good, as long as it is dark. And I really don't care about the color. In such a painting, everything looks same. Okay, so you can really choose colors and make it your own painting. But it's the values that matter actually. Okay, now you can see the painting is coming together. Your paintings won't real until like 80% you're done. Then they'll start to look real. They'll start to look like a painting. Same here, some dark areas. Take a bit of a light brown, mixed with a little bit of orange. Make this shape here because I don't even know what is it. Is it a rope? What is it? I have no idea. So we'll just call it a shape. And that's why it's important to read these uh, photos as just shapes. It keeps it simple and yeah, it's easy. Take a little bit of darker brown, like the sepia, and go here, add those darks here. Okay. Okay, we'll wait for it to dry. What do we have next? We have these darker areas to complete. We also have this small area. I can take some dark red here and I can make this shape here. Again, it looks like a rope to me, but I don't know what it is. So I'll just make a shape here. It's really nice and dark here. So again, sticking to the shape. We can also do these areas. You can see they're super light and nice, and you can just do this very freehand. Next, I'm going to take a bit of dark brown, mix with a little bit of light brown, and add this area. I'm just following the shape. I'm just trying to make some dark areas here, like a nice dark green. Sometimes when it dries, it looks lighter, so I'm just adding some green here. I want to dry this and then move on. So we can do the duck in the meanwhile. Duck, again, you know, it looks blue to me, but it could also be very dark brown. I'll just take chance and make it little dark blue. I don't want everything to look brown. So yeah, we can add some dark blue here. My reflection is going to be darker than the actual object here. So I want to make sure that it's not too dark here. Okay, and as I come down for the reflection of the duck, this is going to be a bit darker. So that's what I see. I see the reflections are darker here than the actual object. So we'll keep that in mind. Just making some dark areas as I see. Yeah. Okay, I'll give a 2-minute break and then we'll finish this part and we'll be done by 7:30 or so. It's a very simple painting, but even with simplicity, you still have to plan how it's going to look when you start painting. How do you observe paintings or photographs is very important. Okay. I'm going to take some nice dark brown, mix with a little bit of blue, and we can make this really dark area. I'm adding nice blue tones here because orange and blue are complementary and it look really nice. Okay, some nice blue here, dark, just trying to make it dark. Wherever I can find nice dark areas, I'm just going to make it dark. Sometimes along the way, I keep tweaking my paintings because they have to look real. I feel this green is light, so I just added a bit of green. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to wait a bit so that we can finish all these details here. Okay, so just wait for like 5 minutes. It's really wet now. In the meanwhile, you can check all the water a bit. I think this needs a bit of extension here. Little dark areas here. So I thought I can just add that. Yeah, I think it looks good. Maybe slight more yellow here. Looks slightly dull. Watercolors dry lighter. So sometimes you might have go and add a little bit of more paint. While this is drying, we can go ahead and add the details above. I can take blue. I don't have to take orange. Sorry, brown or something. Mix this little bit of brown. Just trying to give just a bit of definition now to your painting. All those outlines, just so that it looks real, like a structure. This is really important because otherwise they all look the same. Okay. And same here. If it's dry, go ahead and add a little more of those darker areas. Remember also to make these such darks, like almost black, I'm mixing ultramarine blue and burnt sienna or sepia. They are really dark and the paint has to be thick. It cannot be very flowy or runny, right? Okay. The duck looks a bit dull, so I might add a little bit of paint here. So yeah, as I go along, I keep tweaking the painting. Next, we can go here. You don't have to be exact here. You can just be a bit free-handed here. As long as it is dark. Okay, this looks good. You can see so different everything is looking. This needs a bit more dark. This reflection, I'll show you which one, because like I said, the reflections are darker than the objects here. So I need to make this slightly darker than the top one. Maybe I went too overboard here. So I'm going to remove some color. I'm just taking a clean brush. I don't have the napkin here, but yeah, I just usually dab it with a tissue paper or something, but I don't have it now. Okay. As I keep scanning my painting, I feel it needs a bit of orange here. Okay. Need a tiny bit of blue. Slightly darker orange here. Slightly dark. Otherwise, it looks good. So once you're done, what I usually do is I um, let it dry, and I just take a look at my painting again, take a break, um, come back and see it with my fresh eyes, because it's very important when you keep working on something, you only find flaws in it. So it's very important to take that break and move away. Otherwise, it'll just look like I need to keep fixing it, keep fixing it. That's very important. Uh, like I said, I keep looking at it and I keep fixing it. I just need a little more of maybe orange here and things like that. But you can see that it does make a difference. I have to take some break and come back and then see it my fresh eyes. Okay, I think we're done with the painting because everything looks good. The values match. The values look good as a realistic painting. So if you have any questions, let me know. And if you need any help picking up the materials in watercolors, let me know, because I use only artist grade paints and paper, and they do make a lot of difference. They're slightly expensive than what you get at Michael's and Amazon, but I can send you links from where I buy, which have huge discounts, and you can buy them in bulk and save a lot of money. So just send me an email and then I'll help you out choosing those materials. If you want any specific question, I'll help you out with that too. So that's it from me today. Thank you so much. I hope you had fun painting this specific painting, and hope to see you next time.